always thought the universe was too vast to hold secrets. With billions of stars, trillions of planets, and uncountable civilizations, surely everything was already known by someone, somewhere. But that was before I met her, before I realized that the most astonishing mysteries don't lie in space, but in people. Her name was Velia. I first saw her on Anchor 3, one of those regulation-laden colony worlds where you needed 6 different permits just to breathe. I was on a salvage contract, hired to clean up after an illegal biotech experiment went sideways. The place reeked of formaldehyde and burnt protein, and the wreckage was as alive as it was dangerous. My job? Make it safe. Her job? That was the question. Velia claimed to be a planetary oversight officer, but the way she moved through the debris field, quick, sharp, and almost rehearsed, made me think otherwise. Her uniform bore no insignia, her badge no clearance code. But her voice, that was real enough. Sharp as plasma and twice as hot when she barked orders at me. "Don't go near the subdeck," she roared the first time I tried to investigate a melted-out vent shaft that radiated anomalous energy. "And why not?" I asked, peering down the shaft. The readings were spiking, and curiosity wasn't just a flaw, it was my job. She stepped between me and the opening like she was shielding a secret. "Hazardous organics. You'll melt from the inside out," she said, cold but too fast, like she'd practiced the line. I wasn't convinced. She tried to roar me away, but her blush gave everything away. Literally. A faint red flush colored her cheeks. The kind you don't see on most humans anymore, because most of us are gene-edited to suppress blush responses. Too many poker games gone wrong in the early 2100s, I suppose. She was hiding something. And she wasn't from any government I knew. The salvage job was supposed to take 5 days. I stayed for 9. The wreckage had once been a private research station, a biotech lab floating just outside of legal jurisdiction. Something had gone wrong inside, really wrong. Bone fusions, accelerated evolution algorithms, a containment breach of something spliced from fungal DNA and neural tissue. We found rooms where walls pulsed like organs, where lights flickered in rhythmic patterns like digital breathing. Every time I got close to a new lead, Velia was already there. She wasn't clearing data. She was protecting it. By day 6, I'd set up a hidden transmitter to bounce passive scans through the wreckage. It was illegal as hell, but I was too deep to back out now. What I found on day 8 changed everything. Deep beneath the primary reactor core was a chamber that didn't exist on any blueprint. Encased in carbon alloy and folded between quantum shielding layers, it was a black zone, designed to be invisible to standard scans. But not mine. I waited until Velia was on the far side of the station, then descended through a maintenance shaft using old-school handholds. The chamber had no door, just a biometric panel with 4 data ports. I had to splice into 3 to trigger an access sequence. When the wall finally dissolved into mist, don't ask me how, it just did. I stepped into the coldest room I've ever known. Inside were 6 pods. 1 was open. 5 were still sealed, fogged from internal vapor cycles. The open one had recently been vacated. Each pod was labeled in an alphabet I didn't recognize, something curved and fluid like language trying to mimic motion. But my augmented translator returned a result after 2 minutes. Seed form incubation unit. And just as I was trying to make sense of it, Velia appeared behind me. I turned, guilt all over my face, and she didn't even try to hide her expression. Rage, fear, and something else. Something tender. "You weren't supposed to see this," she said quietly. Her voice didn't roar this time. Crack. "What is this, Velia?" I asked. "Who are you?" She didn't answer. Just stepped toward the pods, touching the one that had been opened. Her fingers lingered on the frost, and her eyes glimmered with something ancient. "This isn't human tech," I said. "Not even black market." She nodded slowly. "It's not." My heart pounded. "Then what are you?" She looked at me for a long time, and when she answered, it wasn't with words. Her pupils widened, absorbing all the ambient light, and the tips of her fingers pulsed faintly. Her skin shimmered with a molecular iridescence I'd only seen on deep-sea plankton. "My people seeded this world millennia ago," she said. "This lab was a way to monitor the evolution of your species." I took a step back. "You're saying you're an alien?" "No. I'm saying I was born here, but not like you." She explained everything then, well enough to overload my understanding. Her species was called the Zalari, ancient bioengineers who rarely interfered with the species they planted, but who occasionally left behind caretakers, sentient hybrids to ensure natural progression. Velia was one of those hybrids, raised in secrecy, integrated into our systems through subtle manipulation. The lab, a cover for biological monitoring. But something had gone wrong. The other Zalari had perished in a containment failure, leaving her alone. "You were trying to hide the evidence," I said. She nodded. "Not because I don't trust humans, but because if your governments find this place, they'll weaponize it, dissect it, reverse engineer us." She wasn't wrong. I looked at her, really looked, and I realized her blush had been her undoing from the start. Flaw in design. A fragment of human biology the Zalari never intended to integrate, but that gave her away. "Why did you stay?" I asked her. "After they died. After it all went to hell." She looked at me, and this time her voice wasn't cold. Trembled. "Because I needed someone to see me. Really see me. And you looked at me. Like I was real." Silence stretched between us. Then the deck trembled. Above us something had activated. The other 5 pods. I turned, scanning their surfaces. "Did we trigger something?" Velia's face paled. "No. They sensed proximity. They're waking up." "You said the others died." "They did. These aren't them. These are the next generation." The pods were pulsing now, faint heartbeats echoing through the chamber. One split open with a hiss, revealing a creature curled inside. Humanoid in shape, but with bioluminescent veins and eyes that shimmered like stardust. "They're still young," Velia whispered. "They won't survive long outside this chamber without acclimation." "What do we do?" I asked. She looked at me, and for the first time she didn't try to command me or shove me away. She asked. "We could save them. But I'll need your help." So I did. Helped her. We rerouted power from the reactor to stabilize the environment, encoded new atmospheric templates into the life support systems, and isolated the chamber from outside comms. For 3 days we worked side by side. And in those 3 days I learned what it meant to trust someone not because they told you to, but because they gave you every reason not to, and you trusted them anyway. When the Zalari young were strong enough to walk, Velia turned to me and said, "I can't stay." "Not now. They'll need me to guide them. But I want you to remember this." She pressed a small chip into my hand. "What is it?" I asked. "A seed. Like me. It won't activate unless you're truly alone. But if it does, it will find you." Then she leaned in, close enough for her warmth to reach me, and kissed me.